Atlanta's #1 radio stations, Swanky 93.3 and The Heat 94.6 radio stations, has you covered. From our studios to our newsroom at K.L.P Entertainment. Listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more.
The world's coming after you.
Gucci, go to plan B. Okay, great. What is that?
Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. Rated PG-13.
Everybody hates the taking off and putting on your shoes nightmare at the airport. But now, there's an easier way. New hands-free Skechers slip-ins. With new Skechers slip-ins, you just step in and go without bending down or looking for a place to sit. Try new machine-washable, hands-free Skechers slip-ins.
These caramel cold brew M&Ms are like M&Ms with a coffee shop vibe.
Maybe too much of a coffee shop vibe.
This next one is about the importance of friendship, so I'm gonna maintain eye contact while I sing it.
Oh boy.
With the Sonic 2 for $7 deal, you get to choose from a Sonic cheeseburger, chicken sandwich, and 6-piece Mott Sticks. If that doesn't sound appealing, you might need to turn up your TV. Sonic 2 for $7 deal.
What is happening? Hello, angels. Thank you for spending your morning or your evening or or your afternoon with me. Maybe you're listening to me on your lunch break. Maybe you are working out. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So, to start with a little bit of an update, today for me has been a little bit of an emotional day because someone very near and dear to me, it's all good feelings, has, gotten a new opportunity that, pretty much will change their lives for the better. However, it's just a very long, temporary goodbye. And so just kind of sorting through those emotions and channeling through that and really just trying to be gentle with myself in all honesty. It's summer now and I don't know, I'm feeling pretty conversational in the sense where I don't necessarily have a specific topic that I'm going to be touching on today. But as I'm feeling it and as it comes along, I'm just going to bring up whatever comes to mind. Starting with summertime sadness. So, all right, I stepped outside my house for 3 seconds. As you guys know, I did record a storytime video about that experience. And I can honestly tell you that that was the first time in my entire YouTube social media career that I've ever felt like I have channeled my feelings into content, because although arguably you can say that I've done things like that in the past, it's always been way more delayed. This is the first time that something just happened and I actually just created content out of it. Now, give or take, how I naturally process things is I am someone that does like to sit with something, especially something of significance, right? I'm not gonna ever just hop on the internet when it comes to serious things that I need to be working on in my own personal life. But given the context that, it was about dating, it was a story time, it was not even really what I would even consider a date because I did not date this person. This is just a reflection of the actual events that have transpired, so that's why I wanted to share it. I'm not exactly sure when the video is coming out. I am hoping that it'll be done by Sunday. It'll be uploaded by Sunday. Sorry, not done on Sunday, but it'll be uploaded because the video is already edited, but I just have to go over it a couple times before I finalize everything. Secondly to that, I have decided, okay, finally I figured out what I want to do on Instagram is basically just create short form content via Reels. And I'm going to upload that both to TikTok and also my Instagram feed, instead of it just being pictures of myself and like coming up with a billion different ideas that are just not enabling me to start. Because at first I was like, okay, I know I want to add value instead of only adding pictures. Not saying I'm going to never add pictures again, but I just would rather have video content. It's something that's super easy and that I'm comfortable with. So why not just record whenever I'm inspired in my car, what have you, just make it fun. And on that day that I recorded my story time video, mind you, I had to record it a bunch of times because I didn't anticipate on it being as long of a story time as it was. So that's why if you follow me on Instagram, I was teasing at the fact that I wanted to turn it into a reel, because I had the assumption that you could make long form content on reels like as high as up to 10 minutes of content. But I ended up recording a 10-minute video on my phone, only to discover that I was having a lot of difficulty trying to upload it to Reels. Like, it wouldn't even go. So, and it wasn't even it wasn't even allowing me to upload the clips in order. You know, like it'll be slide 1, like that would have been cool, right? Like slide 1, 2 minutes, slide 2, 2 minutes, kind of that sort of thing, which is what I thought would happen. So long story short, I ended up just turning it into a YouTube video, and that's what I'm going to do for Sunday's upload. It's going to be that storytime video, and eventually, like as I get in flow more of things, I will definitely be uploading more frequently in regards to my channel, because I really want to prioritize doing that again, since I was prioritizing this, and now I feel like I have mastered this. Arguably, I guess, because it's just present in my mind even more than YouTube. Because YouTube, I wouldn't say I've ever mastered, but I feel like for podcasting, I feel like I'm in a really good space where I have everything under control. I have a good idea of how things work, so I feel comfortable enough to like go back to my original love and make that the number one focus. So yeah, so there's that. And yeah, in regards to the whole summertime sadness, like I said, I stepped outside my house for 3 seconds, and not going to lie, I was feeling like, I kind of want to go out again, like I'm feeling social, like why not? And then next thing you know, I'm finding myself really wanting to like go out even more, but then I'm realizing, wait a second, like how does this whole work-life balance sort of thing happen? Because I have been waking up a lot later than I was before. Like I told you guys, I was waking up at 6 a.m. every single day for the past couple of months, which has been amazing for me. But I've been noticing my pattern has changed because I started going to bed later. The catalyst for that, I honestly can't even remember what the catalyst was for it, but inevitably it makes me wake up later because I'm going to bed so late that waking up at 6 is not an actual option. So I know life ebbs and flows, so I'm flowing with what's going on now, and I said, okay, how about I just make sure that whatever time I get up, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., what have you, I'm going to make the day as productive as possible. That's where I'm at. I'm not going to bother being like, oh my god, like why can't I just do this and do that? Like I don't have time for those thoughts. It's not going to produce anything positive in any capacity. And so I'm just going with the flow of life, and that's where I'm at mentally, and I feel really good. It got a little cloudy there for a second, which I did express to you guys before, and now I feel like I am just on a track of still headed where I can see where I'm going, but I don't have any attachment to any certain outcome. It's just I'm continuing to move forward, and that's where I'm at. So in regards to the whole summertime sadness thing, you're not missing out on anything. Like if you truly really think to yourself, nothing that's for me will ever miss me, you won't ever get FOMO or anything. Now, okay, maybe it's easy for me to say because I am not someone that experiences FOMO, but given the fact that, let's just say, like for instance, last Friday, I wanted to go out with my friends, but for some reason I kept dragging my feet. I picked out my outfit, I did my hair, I packed the purse that I wanted to wear, and everything. I made all the like accommodations, and then I ended up getting a phone call from, you know, someone that's very close to me, you know, and shared that news and everything. It completely redirected my day, pretty much. However, the point is that it's so easy to get caught up in, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that. Just make sure that you're balanced in all things that you're doing. You saying yes to this is not saying no to something that has to be done. You know, like if you know that you have set amount of work to do, don't ignore those things. It's important to exercise delayed gratification. And I wrote that on my calendar, my little whiteboard thing, where I have discipline, which is, you guys know, my word of the year. And in this being my word of the year, I feel like January through April taught me how to cultivate discipline and productivity. I feel like May and now June has been teaching me the different degrees of discipline and how determination plus delayed, you know, gratification in my book equals success. And no matter what time of day I am waking up, the discipline is still doing what I have to do so that I can do what I want to do. And it's very important that we don't let this get lost on us just because the months are getting warmer and things like that. You know, don't just throw everything, all your goals, all the hard work that you put into yourself, because it's so easy to get sidetracked and distracted by, well, welcome distraction. It's so easy where things can consume your time. And to be transparent, even though that situation, if you even want to call it that, that's honestly a compliment of what it was, but that little blip in you know, breeze that went by with the storytime video that I'm going to be sharing with you guys, I realized that yes, okay, I'm not attached to this person. Obviously, I don't even know who this individual is. However, I didn't like the fact that it was even taking up a thought in my head, to be honest. I felt like it didn't even really deserve that. But considering how dramatic it was in such a short time span, allowed it to take up a little bit of emotional real estate because it was just so odd in comparison to everything else. And it really just goes to show me, like, and highlights the fact that when you have the wrong man in your life, it gives you the wrong plan. You're compromising on things that you never dreamed that you would compromise on. And where we get ourselves into the danger zone is when we push past the common sense, when we push past the intuitive feelings that we get, when we push past a certain point is when we are officially in the danger zone. That's when you have to reflect and realize and say to yourself, is this really worth my peace, my sanity, what have you, and the collateral damage that's going to come from it? Sometimes some lessons are inevitable, and some you can kind of see that train coming, and you can step back and not cross over, or you're going to get hit. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's just like not playing with fire. And I was saying this because I spoke to Hale earlier. I was telling her, I was like, as I was talking to my godsister earlier, I was sharing this thought that I had where I said, in your journey in life, you have to go out so far that you're not easily triggered to go back to where you normally were and resume on autopilot. Because if it's that easy for you to get to that place, then you didn't go out far enough. And that is one of the things that I live by, is I tell myself, like, no, like, in any capacity, romantic, platonic, friendships, I am at the point where I've gone out so far that I can't just automatically resort back to old patterns. Because when we do that and we disappoint ourselves, and trust me, like, I was in a little bit of a mini rut, and there's nothing more frustrating than being confused on why it's happening in the first place. It's like, oh my goodness, like, can I get a break? And it's so interesting how easy it is for you to just drop all of the things that are good for yourself. It starts out with eating patterns. You're eating more junk food. You're staying up later. It's like, okay, what's going on here? You're not thinking anything of it. Then, I'm going to skip the gym today. I don't really feel like going. I'm going to cancel. Then it's, I'm not going to do my shower routine before I go to sleep. I'm just going to go to sleep. Then it's, oops, I slept with my makeup on an accident, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Then it's, I'm going to put off my laundry and I'll just do 2 weeks of laundry next week instead. Like you just start naturally undoing. And the unfortunate part about this is it's so much easier to accumulate all of the undoing of everything that you began to implement. That's what makes it scary, and that's where discipline comes in, right? Because it's just simply doing what you have to do, doing what you need to do even, so that you can do what you want to do. That's what it's about. And really recognizing what is the price on the other side. Yes, you should honor your emotions. Yes, you should honor how it is that you feel. But at the end of the day, it's equally as important to make sure that you are saying yes to the right things and that you're not procrastinating or anything on other things that actually need to get done. There's a very fine line, especially being that the months get warmer. We're getting more social. We want to go out more. We want to do all these things. But what I'm saying is just make sure that you're carving out time to do them. Now, another thing, I don't know if you guys are feeling the exact same way, but I have been feeling like this all year, pretty much, so far, that summer will always come. You will live for so many more summers in your life. So if you have to take off a couple so that you can focus, because you're certain things in life you're only going to have to do once just to set the foundation, and then you're going to be good. And I am willing, very much willing, to make that sacrifice so that I, in service of, getting myself to where it is I need to go. And this is where gratefulness comes in, because looking back, everything that I once wanted to achieve, I genuinely have. That is proof that dreams do come true. Even my hard work, of really just having that solitude and things like that, and having such a transformational year last year for myself, the tangible evidence of that, one of those things was me being able to purchase my dream car. That is literal tangible evidence of how hard I was working. And when I see that and I reflect on that and I try to feel those emotions daily to really get myself into practicing the gratitude, because that is something, that's the number one thing that I've always wanted. I mean, truly always wanted. And to see that that is my current reality is truly just insane. And it's such a blessing. And I'm sure that many of you can relate to that in your own respective paths as well. So it's something to consider. You're either working to build something, and we're going to see it. You don't have to post on Instagram, move in silence, don't let anyone know your next move. You don't need to go doing all of that. You don't have to announce how quiet you're going to be, because people love doing that too. Just do it. Just do the work. And pop up. We're going to see the results when we see the results. There's no need to announce it. And that even reminds me, because I wanted to make a video on texting, things like that. And I actually did, which I'm going to be posting on Reels for Instagram and TikTok as well. But when it comes to texting with men, I was saying in my video that texting with guys is not necessarily a good indicator of a man's intentions with you. However, it is a good indicator of, what is the word that I used in the video? Interest. So it's a good indicator of someone's interest with you, of you, but not necessarily their intentions with you, if that makes sense. So at the end of the day, if somebody is not trying to see you in real life, if that person is not trying to ask you quality questions, especially interpersonally, then you already know what it is. And a lot of the times where we go wrong and where we invest even more energy is when we feel the need to explain certain things. Sometimes the bond is so shallow that you don't even have to worry about, hey, just letting you know that clearly this is not what you want, so don't even bother texting me and wasting my time. There's no point in even, getting a response out of that person in any capacity. In my particular situation, as you guys are going to see in my storytime video, the reason I was given the floor to have a back and forth conversation with that individual which is something that was very new and refreshing for me because normally, listen, I disappear. One thing about me, you don't ever have to worry about me. I will never be returning back. I'm good. Once I don't like something, I'm done. I genuinely, wholeheartedly don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to see it, hear about it, nothing. I'm done. Ghost. And in an other circumstance, I don't want to say normal because that's the incorrect word, but in other circumstances, sometimes women feel compelled because they want to provoke some sort of emotion out of the guy. So just to call it out, it's an ego thing, honestly. Call it the person out. I just want to let you know, like, clearly this isn't what you want, so I'm just going to be done with the situation. The only time you should be announcing anything is if you're actually just disinterested in somebody, right? And that person is continuing to communicate with you. See, different circumstance, right? Then it's like, hey, this isn't really something that I want to continue with. I enjoyed our time together, and I wish you the best of luck. Something like that. Okay, that makes sense. But when it comes to you being upset because you feel like this person isn't doing this, isn't doing that, how is it this person is already upsetting you, and yet you still want, let's be real here, to provoke some sort of emotion out of them to get them to be like, oh my gosh, no, that's not at all what I was doing. I was doing this, I was doing that. And when you are in situations like this and it's so premature, look at the foundation already. This person is not communicating with you. This person isn't doing anything. And then I even mentioned this in one of my reels as well, where I said, be careful of the guys that want to do the good morning, I hope you have a good night, so chasing around, because what it does is it creates a false sense of intimacy when you should be formulating and cultivating that intimate connection emotionally, interpersonally. That's what you should be doing. But some guys like to create that false type of intimacy by wooing and cooing you with the words, right? Or by love bombing you. They love doing things like that, some men. So just keep an eye out and be careful and have discernment. Have discernment. What are you anchored in? Honestly, what are you anchored in? Because if you're not anchored in faith, for me, you guys know, I'm a Jesus girl. Then where is the discernment coming from? Where's the knowledge coming from? Where's the wisdom coming from? Where is it coming from? How would you know? How would you know what to look out for? Because we can't rely on our own strength, for eternity. We certainly can't. So we have to be mindful and watchful and discerning of these things so that we can avoid. Some people like to live their life by making mistakes every 5 seconds. Mistakes are inevitable. But we don't have to make a conscious decision to, well, that happened and so what? That's life, YOLO. No. Certain things you can, attain wisdom from by observation. They say a wise man learns from other people's mistakes, doesn't necessarily have to make a million of their own. Do you understand? So these are things that I think about. And when it comes to men, what's interesting is that men, they always want good women. And this is something that my friends and I have talked about so many times, and I'm sure you guys can agree, where it's instead of just finding, because this is what makes the world go round, babe. Instead of just finding someone that aligns with their goals, they would rather find the challenge. They are seduced by the challenge in their own heads of obtaining the woman that is not on the type of time that they are. Here's an example. You are more traditional. You want to wait till marriage before you have intimacy. You are practicing abstinence, whatever it is, okay? And you have certain values. But then there's another type of woman who, hey, I'm a feminist. We should be able to do whatever men do. And so what if you get with a guy on the first time that you see them? It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that they're not going to want to be with you. That's such limited thinking from the patriarchy. Why would we allow the patriarchy to dictate what we do with our lives? Let's not, shame people for being liberal with their sexuality. Why are you so limited in your thinking? Okay, cool. You have 2 different types of individuals, right? Instead of a guy who knows he wants to do nothing but play games with you instead of Nintendo, he would rather go for the one that wants to wait till marriage and wants to do these things. Why? Why? It's about conquering. It's an ego thing, right? Men are like what? 90% ego pretty much. They want to go after that. And that just goes to show you that what kind of game is it that some guys are playing? As a society, we all have our societal gender roles, what have you. And for me, traditionally, I don't mind what the roles are. Personally, I don't want to be a man. I'm not interested in being a man. I don't care about being necessarily viewed as equal to a man because I don't even believe that men and women are equal. I think we are all great at our own individual things. So I'm not obsessed with like that term. You know, it doesn't even affect me like an animosity personally. And I'm not trying to be insensitive when I say that, but when I say the effect, I mean like hearing the word like we need equality with them. It doesn't necessarily matter to me because think about it. I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own business. I'm very ambitious, but I also still like the traditional values of home structure and a nuclear family, things like that. So that in a sense you can argue is kind of modern like, but I don't necessarily adopt, you know, modern values, and especially as it pertains to the like family and you know, relationships, things like that. Anyways, that's a whole other conversation for another day. But my point is that it's just very important that we are aware of who we are, the types of men that are attracted to us, and extracting the message always in every single situation and every dynamic. Because to my point, guys, they enjoy challenges, okay? They want to be, they're so intrigued and seduced by the challenge of things. And once they conquer it, it's like, well, that was easy. Now it's time to go off to the next venture. So it's important to make sure that your boundaries are reflective of what it is that you hold true to, your values. Make sure that your boundaries are reflective of that, because it's so easy for whatever's going on to completely eradicate all of the hard work that you've put into yourself. It's very tricky. It's not an obvious thing. No one's going to be holding up a sign like, hey, this is about to be the biggest mistake of your life, girl. Like, ooh, get ready. No, it's going to sneak up on you. It's the first time that you ignored your intuition. It's the first time that you allowed this guy to make a million excuses as to why he's canceled on you 1 million ways till Sunday. And he's apologetic for it every single time. But yet the dynamic is continuing to perpetuate. It's the time that every time you caught him in a lie, a pretty serious lie, and he's gotten himself out of that. When you do that, you're telling yourself, oh, okay, so what I'm feeling and thinking is incorrect. And oh, as long as he has an explanation for his nonsense, it's cool with me. So what's the point? There's no point in moving forward, because you're used to this dynamic already. So there's always going to be an excuse for him to explain himself out of things. And when you're in the beginning stages of things, give yourself more credit. Like, actually ask you, do I really even like this person? Like, seriously, do I even really like this person? We're not concerned with whether or not that individual likes me. No, I want to figure out, wait, do I actually like you? Do I like your behavior? And make an executive decision from there. Because at the end of the day, men do have certain expectations, right? You have to honor your boundaries. You have to respect yourself. And hey, if he's not going to rise to the occasion, see, this is where we start to fall off. If he's not going to rise to the occasion, it's not a time to go, well, at least I tried and like it didn't work, so like whatever. No, it's just not for you. Nothing for you misses you. You understand? So if you live your life like that, it'll make it a lot easier to let things go. That's it. Nothing for you ever misses you. So when you go out and let's say you connect with somebody, and I was just talking to a couple of my friends about this too, where I was like, you know what? For me, I would rather go out. I like to go out early now. I don't know, it's just my age. But I'm finding that there are there's a lot of common ground with the timing that you're meeting certain guys and also how they treat you. This is what I'm saying. So, for instance, to talk about myself, the guy that I made the storytime video about, when I met him, it was like 11 something at night. And okay, maybe this might sound like, Aisha, like, what are you talking about? No, but there's a correlation. Think about a serious connection that you have made with meeting somebody at dark 30. And I guarantee you, out of over 50,000, 60,000 people that are listening to this right now, I guarantee you I'll probably get 4 people that will say me, like, and it's probably from a dynamic in their early 20s, or it's nothing for people, I guarantee you, that are usually after 25. And if there are, I'll probably get one yes, one hand raise. But for the vast majority, it's not the case. When you actually sit and think about the caliber of guy, and it's going to be different per person. For me in my life, that's not the type of person that I want. I don't necessarily want to meet someone at dark 30. Doesn't mean you can't be there during happenstance. Like, what if you're out celebrating something? Then that's different. But people that make it a lifestyle